In this video, I am talking with Dorian from the Ravager Report Podcast about the future of Red Stars and some solutions to make these things a little more player-friendly. Interesting conversation, so let's go smash it!
ValleyFlyin.
Hey, what's up all you Valley Maniacs? ValleyFlyin here. I am back. Welcome to the channel. And in this video, I'm talking with Dorian from the Ravager Report Podcast about Red Stars. So what we're going to do is break down some numbers. He did some really detailed calculations. So we're going to talk about the current state of Red Stars. Then we're going to get into some solutions to help to make these Red Stars a little more player friendly, but still allow Foxnex to make a lot of money off of these, because ultimately that's what these come down to. And then we're going to give some predictions for what we think is going to be the future of this game with these Red Stars. So good conversation. Now this is actually an edited down version in this video of a much longer conversation. Thought it would go on for about 10 minutes, but it actually went on for 35 minutes. So I chopped it down to a little more reasonable length. Still was a long conversation, but there's a lot of good stuff in there. And just want to remind you guys that the full version is up on Patreon right now. You guys can check that out. I'm also playing on BlueStacks, but without any further ado, let's get into our conversation that we had a few nights ago. So let's get into it. It's been 2 months since they were added to the game. As we were recording this, it's almost 2 months to the day that they were added to the game. I know your thoughts initially on it. We made a video on it. What are your thoughts now that they've been in this game for 2 months? What are your feelings on Red Stars?
My feelings after 2 months is that we were right. These things are... my feelings really have not improved any on this. I don't think they were good for the game. I still don't think they're good for the game. I think Foxnex has kind of broken some implied promises about Red Stars. I haven't been a fan. I don't know if there's anything that they can do to make me a fan, to be honest.
The way they implemented it with the heavy RNG, the huge stat increases, I don't think is very good for this game. But you did mention these implied promises. So let's go back and look at some of these blogs that they said. So this is from November 21st, 2018. I went back and read it, and this is what it says right here. Red Stars and Red Star Orbs will also be made available via reoccurring offers. However, the number of each offer an individual can purchase will be capped.
Yeah, not per day. I mean, look, this in 2020 hindsight, every blog post they write is nothing but marketing speech, right? There are zero promises in any blog post. It's all very vague. And this is another one of those things where they say one thing and it could mean a couple of different things. And that's what they did here. You know, we were like, okay, cool. You know, they kind of hurt us. They're gonna kind of limit the manifestation of these red orbs in the environment. It was just like you can buy 4 per day.
This is crazy money, crazy way to spend your money, because as we're going to talk about in a little bit, you could get absolutely nothing.
You're actually more likely to get nothing.
I'm laughing, and I think this is so funny because it's so ridiculous.
At the very beginning, everything's all fine and nice and hunky-dory, and then you reach kind of that crossover point where the odds of pulling duplicates is the same as your odds of not pulling a duplicate.
Yeah.
And the more characters that you get at Red Stars, the higher your chances of pulling a duplicate. And the problem is, especially with those elites, is that if you pull a 4-star duplicate, which you're going to do 3 times out of 4, you're getting nothing for it. Common sense would tell you this, but you don't think about it when you're doing it. And that's where this is gambling. This is pure gambling.
It is. I agree. We talked about some promises they made. Now, one of the big ones that gets teased a lot from December 14th. So a day after we made that video, we recognized to reach... Oh, well, hold on. Let me back up a little. You will quickly have 3 to 5 Red Star characters spread throughout your roster, is what they said right here. And we're going to go over the math on that and how ridiculous that statement is. But we recognize to reach that point will take some time and trust. So we want to help players build their Red Stars in a few ways. All right, then that's done, because everything that they had in that post is done. But let me ask you real quick before we go into the math. Do you trust Foxnex at this point?
there are some people I think I trust, but do I trust them to stick to what they say, or trust them to put out something? No. I think we've seen too much over the past year, because we're coming up on 1 year. The 1 year anniversary is a month and a half away.
Yeah.
And look back at all the scandals and all the miscues and all the problems that we've had. No, I don't. My trust in them is waning really badly.
I probably would agree with you as a whole. I mean, you're probably in contact with individuals that are doing their job very well.
Yes.
But as a whole, yeah. I mean, I've said many times, I like what they've done so far in 2019. They still haven't addressed a lot of problems in 2018. But with that said, there's been a lot of bugs that have created. So I don't know if my trust is very high. But let's get into the numbers here, because this was very interesting. And then we'll go into the some of the future. So some of the numbers here. They said very quickly get your roster up to 3 to 5 star characters. Is this right? 400, because you did all this math. 435 pulls to get your roster to 3 stars.
That would be to get your entire roster to 3 stars. Yes.
So if we're getting 10 a week, 5 from the daily login, and let's say you do really good on that Red Star or Blitz, let's say you get 10 a week. That's still more than 40 weeks.
Yes.
That doesn't sound quick. That doesn't sound quick to me.
Right, and 3 red stars is nothing. I mean, 4 red stars is really the minimum to be able to keep up, because that's the 20% power point. Mm-hmm. Everything below that is just a waste.
Now, on the high end, 5 stars. I'm looking at this. You tell me if I'm looking at this correct. 8,700 pulls to get your roster up to full 5 stars if the RNG works like it's supposed to, which is 870 weeks.
That is how the math works out, because it is double RNG.
But it's actually getting worse.
Yes.
Right? Because you had the characters at 87 right now. We're getting more. We're getting more and more and more.
Yeah, I mean, as we get more and more and more, and let's just say that they add 3 characters a month, right?
All right, so that brings it up to 90. I'll put that in right 90, now.
So in next month, if they add 3 more characters, the odds of pulling a specific character drop to 1.11%. Now it went from 8,700 orbs to 9,000 to get all your characters to 5 red stars. Now those are just the standard pools. That's not counting elite pools. Okay, so the numbers obviously change at the elite level. And the funny thing about this is, let's say you're trying to quote unquote farm for a specific character. It will take you 9,000 pulls to find that specific character, on average. Now again, you could get lucky, because this is RNG. Remember, all these numbers are not saying this will happen to you. This is just the what the odds say will happen, right? You've got a 1 in 9,000 chance of finding a specific character.
Mm. At the 5-star level. Yeah.
Yes, at the 5-star level.
Okay. That doesn't sound fun to me. It's like, this is what I think of. You're farming characters strictly through premium orbs and Ultimus orbs.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that 100%. There was somebody on Reddit who did some other math and actually calculated it out by time, and figured out it would take roughly, I want to say, I may be getting the numbers botched, and I apologize, like 163 years to get your entire roster at 7 stars. 7 red stars. That's at the current, remember, that's at the current roster level. It gets longer, it gets infinitely longer the more characters they add.
I think we both agree these are bad. I think this has been our opinion for a long time. Now, but I don't know if they could really change much about these red star orbs. The way that the power scaling is, because if they changed it in that first week when we first made that video, not that much of a backlash. 2 months later, I don't know if they could change that upscale of the power. So we talked about a few ways before we started recording about what they can do to kind of make this a little more player friendly and not just Fox Next friendly. You wanted to talk about some of these ideas that you came up with?
Yeah, so some of the ideas were, number one, the standard orb should be 1 through 4 star only. then you take the elites and their 5, 6, and 7s. And then you take that 75% that was on the 4 and you just kind of redistribute it a little bit. So that makes the elites a lot more valuable because it's the only way to get the 5, 6, and 7s. But the only way to get to the elites is through the standards. So
it slows it down.
It slows down the introduction of those high-powered, and the only people who are going to get those high-powered are going to really be the ones that are going to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay? And I have zero problem with the whales, krakens, whatever you want to call them, having an advantage. That's why they pay the money, is to have that advantage, right? I don't want to begrudge them that.
I don't either. They're paying for the game for most of us. They can have the advantage. You know, I spend a little bit of money, and there's a lot of players that are free to play. I don't mind if the people that spend obscene amounts of money on this game are a lot better than me. I did like this other suggestion that you had, though.
You got to pull the 4-star out of the elites. You have to, point blank, because you only get 900 elites for a 4-star duplicate. Yeah, and so you have to pull 6 elites to get that. Yeah. But the best thing that they can honestly do would be to, instead of having it character based, make it trait based. So that when you pull an elite, you get a star, right? So you get your 1 through 4 for the standard, then you get your 5, 6, and 7 for the elite. And then instead of the 1% chance of getting a character, you have a 1 in 5 chance of getting a trait node. So you get your skill, you get your bio, you get your mystic, your mutant, you get tech, and you can apply them where you want. And that changes the entire playing field for red stars, and that makes them so much more enjoyable, in my opinion. I can even forgive the power creep or the power curve if I was able to put them where I wanted to.
Yeah, if it wasn't so RNG based and that huge power thing, if they remove one of those, I think it would be a lot better. Here's the thing, though: to get those elites, you need to have duplicates. So what would you suggest for that? Just apply these stars on a character that you already have start up, and that would give a duplicate towards the elite? Is that what you think
I
the
think
big
that would
solution
work out.
Be?
That would be the best solution. So, let's say I've got a 4-star Punisher and I pull another 4-star. And, I can either apply it to him to get the fragments back as a duplicate. Yeah. Or I could pick, I could put it on Night Nurse, right? I could pick another skill character to put it on. Yeah. So there are multiple ways you can go about doing it. I think that's probably the easiest one that I can think of from a programming standpoint, though.
I like that idea because it still allows Foxnext to make their money because people are going to be buying these, and it's more player friendly.
It is much more player friendly. Yes,
I would buy some of these trait based red star orbs. I think, at least for me, they would make more money if they did that. But
they would. For me too. I would definitely spend. I would definitely spend more money.
Yeah. So
and I think they would. I think they would. That would go a long way to bringing back some of the goodwill that they, for a long time there, they were so good. Right. Well, I shouldn't say a long time. It was just like 2 or 3 months.
It seems like it goes in waves. It seems like it goes in waves with this game. Well, what do you see for the future of this? Red Stars, the game. Do you think they'll implement some of these solutions? Do you think any of these governments have stepped in? I know some in Europe have already started to ban these loot boxes. Do you think the U.S. government or any other governments can step in against Foxnext, specifically against these Red Stars? Or they're just going to change it and make it more player friendly? What do you see happening?
I don't think the government's going to step in. And I think that there are decision makers at Foxnext who see that revenue stream spike when the Red Stars came out. And they're like, that moneymaker. Rather than going, seeing it for what it was, of people realizing that the only way they were going to stay competitive, here's the problem. People fell into the sunken cost fallacy syndrome, where, they may have put money into the game, and now to keep that investment coming, they had to put more money into the game.
Yep, totally.
Right? So they, Foxnext, I'm sure, saw that spike. They see the people buying these things every day going, yeah, nothing wrong here. This is fine. This is fine. It's not fine, man. It's not.
Yeah, but you look at it from their perspective. What motivation do they have to change when they're making so much money from it? I mean, they've made less money from me personally since they've done this, but for most people, I think they're spending a lot, especially the casual players, they're spending a lot more money, and I think they're making a lot more money. So hopefully they have the long-term interest of goodwill of the community in mind and not just the short-term profits.
Yeah, I hope so too.
That's what I'm hoping.
I think that they need to. I mean, obviously Red Stars are here to stay. My fear is that we're going to see a new pay to win mechanic come probably within the next year to replace Red Stars.
And it could be
because it's not sustainable.
Be a sad day for the community when that happens.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest, it's been a struggle. Red Stars was, pretty bad for me personally, and I struggled to keep making content and doing the podcast. That's why I switched over to just more of a I'm gonna have fun with the game mode.
I knew you would. I knew you would tie aim back into this conversation.
See, now here's the thing though, Valley. I didn't say it. You said it. All I said was I switched into having fun mode.
I knew what you meant though. Right,
so
guys.
Yeah, I'm not as slick as I like to think sometimes. But no, I honestly could see them doing something like White Stars, right? Or Blue Stars, or Fuchsia, Green Stars. I mean, they've introduced a mechanic, they've made money off of it, and it would be very simple for them to do it again and just kind of reuse what they've done and apply a different color. I mean, it's programming wise, it's relatively simple.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, for myself, there's so many directions that they could go with this that I hope they end up making this more player friendly and doing something like making them based on traits, making a bio when you get a bio or a tech or something, you can put it on whatever character you want. That is my hope. But we'll see what happens.
One thing that they have not done, and I think this is something that a lot of games do, we don't have an easy mode and a hard mode for our campaigns. So our hero, villain, whatever, we don't have a hard mode for those campaigns.
Okay.
They could switch on a hard mode that allows you to farm the red stars for the characters on those nodes. That would be awesome. Let me farm what I want. Just make the fights harder. Make it quote unquote hard mode, and let us farm the red stars that we want. Because trust me, people are gonna buy energy.
Yeah,
they will buy the energy to refarm those nodes.
And what would it be like? You get, I don't know how it works. Yeah, you farm a node for maybe, let's say, Captain America, and you get fragments of a 1-star, and then when you get to that 1-star, you start to work on fragments for a 2-star.
Yeah, just the same way you do with with starring them up right now. You have to get 45 to get to level, to get 2 stars. Then you have to get 80 to get to 3 stars. Or is it 80 to 4? Sorry, 80 to 4. 130 to 5, 200 to 6, 300 to 7. You basically
like
restart the farm.
I would. That's starting to grind over, but I think that, again, more player friendly. So I hope that is something that.
Yeah, I think that would be very player friendly, and you could even lock it and say you can't farm red stars until you get a 7-star, until you get that character 7 stars. Yeah.
So that's another solution. I hope they would go down something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be very nice. Now, and then the final thing that I think that they could really do to make it more friendly is, so I've been getting into some more gacha games. A lot of gacha games have what's called a pity system. So let's say the standard orb is, they change it to 1 to 4, right? And let's say you don't pull a 4 red star out of 10 pulls. What they'll do in these gacha games is they will increase the chances of you pulling that 4 red star until you pull the 4 red star, and then your odds go back to normal, and it resets. Right? So they had the pity system. I think they need to cut some stuff out. They need to put in a pity system and provide other ways of farming.
Yeah, and all of these suggestions, they still would be making a lot of money as well.
Oh, hand over fist.
But it's just better for the players. So I'm hoping there's a good compromise here that they could find. Maybe some of the ones that we suggested, or maybe the ones that we haven't suggested. But just that's good for both parties. That's what I'm hoping for this. It sounds like we're bagging on the game, and at least me personally, I still play this every day. I have a lot of fun with it. But the Red Stars, they need to change something because it's seriously throwing this game out of whack based on just luck. And come on, Foxnex, if you're watching this, do something. We love this game, and it can be back to what it was. So let's get it done. Let's get it done. All right, tell everybody again where they can find you, Dorian.
Yeah, so you can listen to me in Hebrew. We record live every Friday night on our Discord, which you can find at discord.me/Ravager Report. Or if you want, you can just listen to our podcast, which is available on Podbean at ravagerreport.podbean.com.
Okay, and send me the links. I'll put it in the description to this video.
I will do that.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me. I do want to remind all you guys that if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel, smash on the like button, join the notification squad. BlueStacks, the way to support the channel, and I do have a new Patreon. Those links are down below in the description. Before you go, though, I do have one question for you, Dorian.
Yeah, what's that question?
What you gonna do, brother, when ValleyFlyin and all the Valley Mayors come down on you, dude?
I'm gonna smash that like button's what I'm gonna do.
Ooh, yeah, dig it. ValleyFlyin out.